This company is redefining last-mile intercity logistics and deliveries using drone-based technology. From takeoff and landing sites to amazing cutting-edge autonomous vehicles, they are bridging the gap in hard-to-travel locations. Let me introduce RigiTech. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Builder Nation. Today, we are joined by David Rovira, co-founder and chief business officer at RigiTech. David, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. Could you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam, for having me. My name is David Rovira. I'm a co-founder of RigiTech. So since the beginning, back in 2018, when we founded RigiTech. My background basically has been in drones. I was at SenseFly, which is a mapping company for a while. Then I worked a little bit in the World Bank as well in large-scale drone mapping implementations. And then I met one of my co-founders, Oriol, who was working at Doctors Without Borders at the time, doing the first drone delivery trials. And we started talking also with the third co-founder, Adam, who is the CEO, and he was the chief of engineering at SenseFly at the time, so we used to work together. And then we started developing the idea of creating a drone delivery system. There was, at the time when we were discussing, there was nothing out there. It was all hacked drones for mapping with a payload attached and all this. And also we were learning a lot of the use cases done by Oriol back in Papua New Guinea, Peru, and all these options. So we entertained the idea, and then we decided to jump in this adventure, and we created RigiTech. And then we focus a lot on having a full solution. We manufacture here hardware and software, which is not easy, but we believe is the only way to have a full control of the solution that you're selling to your customers. So here we are right now focused on doing a vehicle that can transport 3 kilograms up to 100 kilometers. That's what we say intercity. Essentially just connecting two areas. We're not very looking into urban itself. I think there are other drones that are doing urban with a multicopter. We're going more in the intercity long range delivery. So we developed with that idea in mind, and we created a VTOL, which is essentially a hybrid between a helicopter and an airplane. We take off and land from a small tight space, could be a rooftop from a hospital. Then once we reach 50 meters, we transition into an airplane, flies all the way. That's how we reach these distances, and then it transitions back into a helicopter and just goes down.
Wow,
yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. I didn't really know that drones could do that. It's amazing. I wanted to jump into a different question, but before, I have to ask you. I mean, 100 kilometers, it's a very long distance. And if somebody was to drive that, it would take quite a lot of time. How long do your drone deliveries take from go from point A to point B?
So if we do a route of 100 kilometers, it will take less than an hour. We do 120 kilometers an hour flight. So if you count the time that it takes to take off and land again, it will be probably less than an hour total.
Wow, now that's amazing. That certainly is taking delivery to a whole new level. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now, before we continue with RigiTech, I wanted to actually dive a little deeper about you, David. Right? I was looking at your LinkedIn, and I found this amazing nonprofit that you were actually a part of, a VP of Drone Adventures. You've been at that for quite a little while already, for a few years. Could you please talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, I think once we were in SenseFly, some people, Adam included, our co-founder, and my wife founded the NGO Drone Adventures. And essentially, it was to discover new ways where the drones could help. And then that was doing projects that could go since from mapping in an earthquake area to just counting animals in the savannah, and we were just exploring through that NGO the benefits that drone technology could bring.
Well, that's honestly amazing. I believe it's great that you're doing so much for the drone industry. Now, coming back very quickly to RigiTech itself, right? I mean, I know that you're based in Switzerland, especially in Rigi, a place where, I mean, mountains are pretty much just surrounding you everywhere. That's, I guess, why you created this solution, right? Based on that, I noticed that you did develop something called the Air Bridge. Could you please explain to us what Air Bridge is?
Yeah. So on the first topic, we're Swiss, so we love mountains. The Rigi is a mountain. The Eiger, which is the name of our first product, is a mountain here in Switzerland as well. So yeah, we do love mountains and lakes around here. The Air Bridge essentially is a connection between 2 points. It's a connection that you make, aerial connection is the Air Bridge. And then you can establish a route, an aerial route, between 2 hospitals, 2 laboratories, 2 warehouses, anything that you can think of. But essentially it's the same route that you do over and over. So the focus of our company so far, it is not to go to your backyard. It is essentially to create the route connecting 2 existing infrastructures known by a route that is then sent to civil aviation approved. And we always conduct this route. And then from that route, we try to create a network of those air bridges. So it's the air bridge network that we're trying to connect in.
Right, and these are fixed based on your software, correct? Like they are already preloaded or pre-saved to save time, correct?
Yeah, correct. So one of the main features of the RigiTech solution is the software. It is a cloud-based software, although we have redundant servers as well. And the idea is that you can plan there using all the tools that you need for approvals in the European Union under EASA rules, which is the authority that regulates the airspace here in Europe. And once you created your routes, you can submit them to the regulators. They approve it, they get locked in our system. And then from there, flying is just the act of pushing a button. You know, we take it very seriously, the planning of those routes. That's where you input most of your time, most of your effort. So then you have less problems and less challenges while you're flying, which is the ideal solution. And that's why the Air Bridge for what we're doing right now is the solution that makes more sense, because hospitals are known locations. We focus a lot on medical deliveries. So therefore we do the routes, and then all the users of the airspace and all the regulators know which route we're performing and how we are performing. And we can also tell them, in case of an emergency, this is going to be our procedure. We're going to be here, we're going to land here. This is my emergency landing point. So everything is predefined on those routes, which is actually what helps a lot for the regulators to approve those routes. I would say that one of the main challenges that we're doing, it's essentially that we're flying BVLOS. BVLOS means beyond visual line of sight. Until now, everyone that knows drones and everyone that is doing their drone for mapping or even taking a video, snapshots and all this, you're always one person, one drone. What we do means that you have one pilot, several drones, and all these drones are flying beyond your visual line. So once you lose it, so you need to have it all centralized in one software. So one person can see many drones, and one drone can be seen by many people. So that's the solution that we built.
Wow, that's actually amazing. I mean, well, I that have used just these super regular drones for like super amateur pictures and stuff. It's kind of hard to imagine how you're gonna fly something you're not seeing there. It's honestly amazing. So I really like that. Actually, staying on the line of that BVLOS, I read that in January you became the very first drone delivery company to obtain permissions for medical deliveries in France, which is honestly super amazing. Congratulations for that. Could you talk to us a little bit about how that come to happen? How did you sell it? About that in general.
Yeah, I think, well, we've been the first one to fly BVLOS in several countries. I think the most known one is France, but back in 2019, we were the first ones to fly in Italy. We were the first ones to fly in Denmark and the first ones to fly in Czech Republic. So, you know, it's always a first because it's quite a new industry. So that's that's what it takes. You're there. If you're able to pass through regulations in one of the European countries, then it's easier for you to be the first one in others. I would say the French one was a milestone, essentially because it was not only being the first one to do a demonstration of BVLOS flights, but it's the first one to do a routine delivery. So essentially, we do fly every day. We do fly between two laboratories. We have a great partner there, which is the biggest laboratory group of France. And we have been working together for the past 3 years, implementing routes throughout their laboratories. This was the first one, and then now we're learning together how to make it better and more scalable to reach all other laboratories. And also, we're using this first route for us to learn how to do it and how to make our products better. At some point, we're experiencing the pain that our future customers are going to experience, and we wanted to feel that pain first. Be ready and just attack directly there so we can solve it before it becomes a problem to our future customers and our customers.
I believe that is the perfect way to address these issues. That's amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now, I do want to ask you, I mean, this, of course, this kind of deliveries require some really incredible technology. And I noticed that the Eiger is your second drone so far. I mean, it's the largest, but it's the second iteration, with Rigi-1 being the first you ever built, now discontinued, right? What are the improvements between these two? How did you come to sort of jump from one to the other?
Well, I think they're two complete different beasts. I think the Rigi-1 was our first prototype, and it stayed at a prototype level. It allowed us to do a lot, and then it was flying. I think right now one of the ideas that making a drone fly is not difficult. It's been a long time. For over 12 years, drones have been flying, and it's normal. It's just a piece of hardware with a bit of software, you make it fly. So that's what we did at the beginning. We were able to make a 10-15 kilo drone fly BVLOS. For the second iterations, we basically took very seriously the EASA regulations. And that's how we started shaping the Eiger. We decided, okay, what are going to be the next challenges that these regulations are going to pose to a drone delivery? And then we try to address all of them. We have a parachute inside the drone. We have a fail-safe, completely independent and dissimilar in the drone. We have several communication channels, etc., etc. So we were actually building a drone that would actually allow us to fly BVLOS according to the new EASA regulations. That's what shaped that drone. And then also, it's iteration by iteration, you make it better. We decided that the first Eiger 1 was fully 3D printed. It was great, but it couldn't last long enough, and it wasn't stiff enough for the kind of missions that we're doing. Now our drones need to fly in any kind of weather. You cannot be stopping medical logistics because it's raining. So all these inputs went into creating the Eiger. That's how it just evolved.
Right, and I mean, that's actually amazing. Now, I have two questions related to this, but I want to go with the first one. Now that you mentioned weather, actually, I know that you don't only sell drones, right? But you also have four, for what I could gather, 4 different type of technologies that you have, right? Which is, first of all, the drone. You have what you call the edge nut. Then you have drone port cameras and a weather station. Could you please explain to us how all of these work together so seamlessly, how they improve the performance of your drones?
Yeah, I think, well, first, what we sell is a complete solution for logistics. So it becomes the drone, the cloud, Rigi Cloud is the main software, and it's the most important part of this solution. And then the edge nodes. Cameras and weather stations are peripherals that we add or not, depending on what's needed there. But essentially, the edge node, which is the only thing that I haven't touched yet, it is a server, a local server that we install at takeoff and landing that has redundancy on the communication channels. So it has radio communication for there. It is a redundant server, and it actually allows to connect to the drone in a safe manner whenever we're approaching the landing. Usually landing zones and takeoff zones are the most critical areas. That's where the hospital is. That's where people live there. Usually we fly over rural areas. So the critical times for us is takeoff and landings. And that's where we want to have all the available redundancies. You want to have, in case you lose your master servers, you have a local server that allows to take control of the drone if needed. You have a different communication channel that is not your standard C2 link, which also adds the redundancy on those critical times. So that's a key piece of equipment that we also have in the system for every takeoff and landing location.
All right, that's amazing. It's a perfect integration for what you're mentioning. Now, going to the second question that I had, which is related more to the business side of it. You mentioned that you build your drones around the regulations of where you want to fly them. Would you consider this is going to limit your expansion, maybe in case you wanted to reach the US or Australia, for example, because the regulations might be different? Or is that just not on your agenda for now?
It's a good question. I think, so far, EASA regulations have been extremely strict, but also open, which, allows us to, they make us reach a level of security that is not standard in many other countries, except, I would say FAA in the US or Australia, which are other big civil aviations that are pushing. But I think there is a lot of commonalities. The fact that we are approved to fly in EASA regulations, it is a major milestone to go then to the FAA. I think if you prove your flights BVLOS in Europe, most of the countries are open for you, which is essentially one of the main differentiators with some other companies that do a drone or drone delivery, that they tend to go to countries where the regulations are less strict, so they can fly faster. We took the other way. We said, okay, let's go to the most strict country. So we develop our product to a standard that then it will pass in any other country. That was the idea.
Okay, I did not know that you have sort of these most rigorous standards for drone flights, which makes total sense. Thank you very much for explaining that. Now, moving past the actual part of the drones, and actually go a little bit more into the structure of your company right now. So I was able to see on your LinkedIn that you're currently looking for a finance officer, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I can understand you're growing actually pretty rapidly. Right now, since you don't have a finance lead, I would assume that all of these sort of budgeting and finances is jumping between your CEO and you, right? Mm-hmm. So my question is, in such a high level company that has technology, that has business, that has commerce, etc., how do you keep a healthy procurement, a healthy finance without slowing down production and manufacturing?
I think we have the right people. That's the key. We have an amazing team with a lot of passion and endurance, and everyone does everything that is required to push the company forward. So yeah, I think, in the finance side is more the CEO, Adam, that takes the lead there, but it can be helped by anyone that is required. And I think everyone here we're in an environment where everyone needs to understand what everyone else does in case they need to help. So it's a very collaborative kind of society inside the RigiTech, where everyone tries to help everyone else. Because right now, once you're in a small structure, if someone struggles, it means that everyone struggles. We feel it directly. It's not like, oh, well, there's 3 teams behind, someone is not able to complete that job, so it's not my problem. Here, everyone's problem, it's common. So we all attack the same problems together. And I think in this case, we have the chance to get very, very good people in the team that are, passionate of what they do, and they all kind of help. I have engineers that help me in the sales process, that they go talk to other leads. We have, I sometimes support the technical support team. It's a very collaborative kind of way of working, although we're trying to implement some structural inside, but it's still very everyone helps everyone.
Right. And honestly, that's amazing. It's sort of the perfect startup environment, right? Where everybody knows what they're doing and everybody can help each other. That is honestly amazing. Now, I want to ask you, moving differently into the section of your current, pretty much the customer base that you have right now. You, for what I could gather, handle essentially 3 different industries so far, right? Which is healthcare, which is sort of industrial, and also e-commerce and postal. How difficult or easy were you? Did you sort of figure out this product market fit at the beginning?
So I would say that we're still exploring this postal e-commerce. It is just an exploration. So far, what we've proven to have a product market fit is the medical. So medical deliveries could be blood to laboratories. It could be medicines between the hospitals. That has been proven. I think we're now proving as well the industrial spare part delivery. We're conducting a series of trials with different companies now, connecting warehouses, connecting offshore logistics, etc. So those ones, we know that there is a correct product market fit. The postal and e-commerce, we're now starting to explore that avenue. I know that there's other companies that have managed to do that. So we're still in the exploration phase.
All right, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna lead to some incredible places. I would imagine that it's gonna be based more for companies because of the structure of your air bridge and everything. But it's honestly amazing. I really can't wait to see it. And before we close this out, David, I wanted to actually ask you about something a little more general, right? Which is about your history. You're an entrepreneur. You have a lot of experience in drones, and you have a lot of already you have a lot of experience in startups. What advice would you give to any young entrepreneurs, drone leaders, engineers, people who are starting their own journey?
Do start. That's my advice. Do start. Is worth it. You need to love what you do, and you need to be resilient. And I think if you have a good idea and you go through it and you push, then it might become a dream. I think we're all, the startup world that it goes in tides, and sometimes you're low and you want to quit, and sometimes you're high and you say this is the best. So I think resilience is needed in the highs and in the lows, and just keep pushing forward. Yeah.
That's an amazing piece of advice. Thank you very much for that. I believe that is the perfect way to give a little closure to this interview. Thank you very much, David, for being here with us today, sharing your experiences, your thoughts, the way that RigiTech works. It's amazing. I can't wait to see it come closer to where I live. Where can we find you? Where can we find RigiTech? Any social media handles?
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us in LinkedIn or Facebook. Please do look for RigiTech or Rigi Technologies, which is the actual name of the company is Rigi Technologies, although we shorten up to RigiTech. Yeah.
It does sound better as RigiTech. Let's be real. Thank you very much for that. And guys, remember that you can find more information, interesting articles, and interviews directly on our website, controlhub.com/builder-nation. We're going to love to hear from you. Thank you very much for being part of this community. We're going to see you in the next episode. And David, thank you very much one more time for joining us. We were so lucky to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great.
Thanks.
When building the future is your priority, tedious procurement processes should be last on your list. The problem is that purchasing data is scattered across spreadsheets, receipts, emails, and messages. Tracking it all sucks and makes it easy to commit mistakes. Introducing the ControlHub way, the all-in-one purchasing software for hardware companies. Buying parts, services, or office supplies? Submit a quick purchase request to buy from your list of approved vendors, or buy from a new provider. Buying from approved vendors is even easier. Import your shopping cart directly into your purchase request using our checkout integrations. When the order is ready, submit it for approval. We'll ping all pre-designated approvers both via ControlHub's website, email, and Slack notifications for a faster turnaround. If you need a PO, we got you. Generate it in one click. Online purchase? Boom, virtual card. Do an automatic 3-way match, pay invoices, and sync everything live with QuickBooks or NetSuite. Purchasing just got a lot easier. ControlHub. Get back to building.